Overcompensating much? Hello and welcome to episode number 66 of Unrelenting, April 21st. It's a Friday. We're ready to get your weekend on. I am Darren O'Neill across his big virtual desk, Sir Gene Nevtuliev,
How are you?
the destroyer of rockets. How are you?
Destroyer rockets, please.
I hear Elon offered you a seat on that rocket, and you were very smart not to take that.
Exactly. No, it was a great time. I was down at SpaceX observing the latest launch and had a good time.
I like the news coverage that says it destroyed itself, or whatever verbiage they used, mid-flight. It's like, well, I don't really know if it was mid-flight. I mean, I guess it was during flight. What's the proper terminology there? Because, I mean, it got up high enough. It didn't blow up on the launch pad. They were very happy about that. And
I would still say early flight.
yes, I wouldn't be like it was, mid-flight to me sounds like if you say an airline falls out of the sky mid-flight, that's, a long time into the journey.
Yeah. It's not mid-flight by any stretch. It's certainly not by distance, but it's not even by time, because had everything gone according to schedule, right about the time that it lost control and was detonated, it would have been when it separated and the first stage would have landed, in quotes. It would have landed in the water, so it's still a crash landing.
I mean, and I almost wet myself when I heard the stage that the part that was separating had 33 engines on it.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, really?
Well, didn't I send you a picture? I thought I sent you a photo of that.
I don't know. I didn't count them. Was there?
Yeah.
30?
I'm shocked you.
30.
How could you not count the engines on the rocket? What, are you not a rocket nerd?
No, not as much as you. 33, though. It's like,
33 engines. Yep.
We've been taught that's a number you want to look at.
Yeah. Ironically, that generally means cancel operation.
And, well, this did very quickly.
Yeah. Well, the rocket was named 24/7, and it was flown on 420.
Yeah, I mean, really, I don't know if that's a great idea. All the people working in mission control might have been a little high.
Yeah, well, Elon would be the first of those.
Well, true. So he wouldn't even notice.
No, he's purposefully delayed the launch to 420.
That rocket went one toke over the line.
And
that exploded.
Yep. Took a giant puff.
It did, yeah. That's kind of what it looked like. And then it went all kitty wumpus up there. So that's kind of...
It did a little bit, yeah. Yeah, it kind of, whoa, man.
Well,
far out.
When you're sending it with the Freebird song attached to it, like, watch this, man. This syncs up just like Dark Side of the Moon does with the wall. You could just sync up to Freebird and boom.
Yeah, just lined right up.
See, that's something I could see Elon doing too. To troll along. Elon is, he's everybody's worst nightmare, because you and I enjoy trolling people. You maybe a little bit more.
Maybe a little too much.
But we only have a certain amount of resources because we don't have billions of dollars at our disposal.
Right. Amazingly.
I know. We should. Elon, though, does have the billions of dollars and then uses those to troll people like Stephen King, which I thought was funny because he was bitching that he wasn't going to pay for the blue check mark on Twitter.
Yeah.
So when the Great Awakening came and all of the blue check marks started disappearing yesterday, he still had his, and he posted to Twitter. He's like, my Twitter account says that I pay for Twitter Blue. I don't. It also says they have my phone number. They don't. And Elon Musk is just like, thank you. I mean, you're welcome. Namaste. He's put, you're welcome. Namaste. Like, yeah, I did that. I gave you your little blue check mark for free because you're a little whiny bitch. And that still doesn't make people happy, which I find to be hilarious.
Well, he shouldn't have.
I agree.
Fuck them. They don't want to pay. How is it that the richest people in the world are the ones bitching about this?
Exactly. Well, it's because of the fact that the blue check mark was changed to go from we verified this person is real and of status, because you just couldn't get a blue check mark if you were some schmuck like me.
But that's not how it started off. The blue check mark started off exactly the way Elon's doing it right now, which is this is a verified person. We have checked their driver's license against their account. They're not being impersonated. And the only reason that people of status started getting them is because they kept being impersonated. So they were bitching, or their agents were bitching,
right,
about the fact, how come there's all these accounts that say Stephen King, making him look like an idiot? We need something on his account to make him look like he's the real thing.
Right. He can make himself look like an idiot.
It had nothing to do with giving him out for status. It was, they were supposed to give him out to anybody that paid for him originally or requested him.
Right. Well, it was requested because there was no money involved, and then they got overrun. That was kind of.
Well, that's right. That's the thing, is that they decided that it was going to change into a status thing instead of a verification thing. But like, if somebody's getting, getting two accounts that were similar, even if they're not a famous person, if you go back to their original policies, then you're supposed to be able to put in a request and say, this is the real me.
The real me.
Yeah. The only thing they didn't have is they weren't saying they would do it for anybody. It was a case by case basis.
Right. And then more people wanted it. Then Elon decided this would be a great way to make money. And then the people that already had it were mad that they would have to pay $8 a month.
Yeah. Oh my God. $8. $100 a year.
And I think it's well worth it. I haven't done it yet because I would have to give them my real phone number, which I haven't done yet.
Well, I gave them my phone number that I got rid of.
Well, see, that's very smart. Oh, you know what? You're right, dude.
Yeah.
I do have this phone that my wife just abandoned to get a new one. So I do have a number that's going to be canceled very soon. That would be need to start using that to sign up for everything.
Yep.
And be like, no, it's a real number. See? And everything. But now, if they allow you, and I think they do, to post longer form content and everything like that, well, then it's a bargain.
Longer
for
form
$8.
and video.
Yeah.
And I need to start playing with video more. I haven't really done much with video, but
both on the Twitter and elsewhere.
I mean,
we've been
remember,
saying
video
this for
doesn't have to be video. Should be able to just put a full podcast up in there as a video file.
Well, I have been spending more time in front of the YouTube screen because that's what usually takes my whole mind off the fact that I'm riding on the bike in the house. And there are videos that are nothing more than somebody. I saw one where a dude was explaining what has happened to Fuddruckers, the burger chain. That pops up in my feed, and I'm like, well, I used to like
scary. I actually watched that video.
Really? Wow, that's weird.
So here's what happened. This is actually part of the algo. It actually, because we've sent messages back and forth through email.
Well, and we've connected through the Unrelenting channel.
Yes, that as well. So now it has established, like a spider web, a connection between us, saying, "Oh, these people know each other." And like this was something that I kind of figured out a long time ago with my real good friend that I probably message on a daily basis with. Is that he kept getting videos that I've seen, and I kept getting videos that he's seen, usually within a day. And so what they're doing in the algo, or part of the tweaking of the YouTube algos, is if a friend of yours, somebody that they've established, that they know there's an established connection with, has watched an entire video rather than a little bit and once, close it.
Right.
But if they watched it start to finish, there's a high likelihood that will pop up in your recommended videos because they think you're going to watch it start to finish then. And they're absolutely correct, because not only do people share interest typically, but it gives you something to talk about. And so you're more likely to have that in the future as well. So you're going to have more shared recommendations like that. Right now, I'll bet you with this friend of mine, and he's not a podcast or anything. He's so I'm not referring to his name, not because I'm trying to slight him, but because he's not public. Also has security clearance. But we probably get like 70% identical recommendations right now.
Nice.
There's very little variance, and a lot of them are funny. It's things like, he's got a machine shop he owns, and so I start getting recommendations for machine shop videos.
You're like, wow, this seems weird.
And they're actually kind of cool. I mean, I've started watching them, but I've never had an interest in machining or CNC router stuff, But now I'm probably on the list, not just because of him, but because I've watched enough of those videos, because it is kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that has one of those machines. He's like, if you can come up with something you want to sell, let me know. Always looking for things to make with it.
Yeah, a gun.
Well, you can do guns. I was thinking more something easier to sell on Amazon, like a record weight or something like that. But
a record weight, yeah, in shape of a gun.
That's even better. That would just trigger.
That's a great idea that you had there.
Thank you. I'm going to get those made up, and we'll have them on
gun
Amazon.
Record weights. Yes, or you can make one that's a silencer shaped record weight.
It's dual purpose. It can go on.
Oh no, not at all. You don't want to be doing that. Has to be single purpose.
Of course,
we kind of like a solvent trap.
You did not want to get the federal government upset.
The ATF is not your friend.
Now remember, I'm trying to remember which day I watched that video. So whether I watched it and it then
it was before my trip to SpaceX, so it would have been like last weekend or maybe Monday.
Okay, then you saw it first.
Yeah, okay.
Then it popped up in my feed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember Fuddruckers. I guess they're gone out of Illinois. I went and looked at their locations after that. But the main thing was, while I'm watching this, there's a bunch of these channels that the person narrating never appears on screen.
Mm-hmm.
All they use is stock footage
completely
to make the videos, and they're getting tens of thousands, if not more.
Yeah, some of them are millions. Yeah,
in the views, and I'm like, why aren't I doing
this?
And
I'll even tell you beyond that, about half, roughly, of those what you described are using an AI voice,
which would make sense.
And most people can't tell. I can tell now because I hear the exact same voice on channels that are totally unrelated.
Yes, you're like, why is this?
So I always put a comment in there. Oh, yet another Chinese channel using an American AI voice.
Well, because it's like very easy to do, right?
And I've got the software that puts it all together. It literally will find the stock clips based on the text.
Now, is there a service? Is this a paid service to get these video clips to use that all of this stuff they're pulling from? Is there like some kind of massive clearinghouse where I can go in and go, I just want this? That's
exactly right. Yep. You type in, you can do it manually. Type in what you're looking for. It'll find you the right clips. And with part of the packages, you have the license for all of them. And then the automated one will just do it automatically.
Oh, well, that's interesting too, because you're punching in the text in order for the video. Because I'm thinking this would be beyond the fact that it's an AI voice, and a lot of the people that, as you said, making the videos are Chinese or Indian, or there's something where they're like, they don't want their voice on the product. Yeah,
like they mostly speak Polish or something. I don't know.
It may be, but what I'm thinking is now creating one of these videos, it is child's play to translate to a different language and then use another AI.
The software does it automatically.
And then publish it on that same video. You can, if there's a reasonable market, you can publish it on the Chinese version of YouTube, the Spanish version. That's genius.
Yep, totally. Got all the software for it. Too lazy to use it.
Well, dude, let's use it. There's way more money in that than podcasting.
Well, how about you do a test sample and you figure out whether it makes money, and if it does, then I'll jump in.
Then you'll jump in. Once the money's flowing in, then you'll dip your toe in.
Yeah, because my ideal version of doing this is actually to hire somebody in the Philippines to make these for me.
That would make more sense.
Yeah, and then just collect the money.
Find somebody on Fiverr who doesn't realize that They can make a lot more money doing this for themselves than Gene's like, but I'm paying you $50 an hour. And like, I didn't
50?
mention that those videos are making $15 an hour.
That sounds reasonable.
Where the videos are then making $100 per minute.
Well, that's your way overestimating. I mean, realistically, if a video gets 100,000 views, you've made $1. Yes.
It's all a quantitative thing.
It's absolutely. So you start making money a few years in.
You have to build the audience.
So you have to make sure the topics are not age dependent.
And I will say,
things like the history of are great because they never really change.
Yeah, they're evergreens. The daily news stuff gets lost very quickly because nobody cares. Things are changing so quick.
That's why nobody listens to shows like this.
Well, we are funded today, thanks to...
are we funded? Wow.
Thanks to a couple of donations.
Amazing.
That I was surprised. Otherwise, I was like, you know what, Gene? It's time to just end the show. Nobody cares. But a couple people saved the show today.
Wow. Somebody actually saved the show. That's amazing.
That's well, we're putting the blame on them. That's basically all we're doing is shifting the blame for the show. But watching,
I mean, I was just gonna, call you and talk to you about the whole SpaceX thing. I didn't realize we were going to get recorded.
And nobody paid attention to the little flipper device in your hand that you pushed right as that rocket blew up.
It is satisfying.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, how many seconds did it take between you pushing the button and actually hearing the explosion from far, far away?
Well, it basically travels at almost the speed of light.
So yes, yeah. Quick.
And the rocket was, at that point, it was at 39.5 kilometers up. And
was that high enough to deploy the thing that needed to be deployed first?
Yes.
Good.
And by thing you mean the explosive, or what do you?
The thing that had to be deployed.
Oh, the thing from the actual stage,
right?
Yeah. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, mission accomplished.
I get you.
Right.
Mission. Well, that's Elon said that right there. He said mission accomplished.
Well, everybody was freaking out that people at the control center were cheering as it exploded. It's like, well, it was just I mean, there were no people on this. Let's understand. Right. Well, that's true. That's true. It could have been one of those things that could have finally been Jeffrey Epstein. They were trying to get him out.
Jeffrey Epstein, yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, in the history of all rockets, it did have a dog on board, but that's just normal. Everybody knows that.
Well, I thought that was usually monkeys, but they're just dogs.
No. They start with dogs, then they go to monkeys.
Just to see if they survive.
Well, I'm not sure even if that's really a question. You pretty much know they're not going to survive.
True. At some point, yeah. Because you're going up. It's a hell of a journey.
It's a hell of a thing. I will say that for its part, though, it looks like it would have been a very comfortable ride. It did not hit particularly high G load. I think it maxed out at just over 2 Gs, which is very comfortable. It's basically what you would feel in a Tesla car.
Yeah, 2G is nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
I think they said last year at the Martinsville race in NASCAR at the end, most people have seen the video of Ross Chastain that rode the wall, pulled the video game move.
Yeah.
I think they said that hit 11G.
No.
Yeah.
That would not have hit 11G.
They said, 11G.
They didn't know what they're talking
11G, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm telling you that's physically impossible at that slow speed.
Xfinity has 10G. That car got to 11.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to ride a wall, all you need is 2G. No, sorry, 3G.
You just hit it. It'll hold you.
It'll hold you at 3G. At 2G, it's going to be very tenuous. But at 3G, you'll stick to the wall.
I don't know physics.
It's not physics, just basic math.
Basic math?
Yeah.
How many G's does it take to G?
Well, a G is 9.8 meters per second. So it's really simple math.
Pretty simple math. I could do that in my head.
Yeah. But anyway, so it would have been a comfortable ride. The as far as what worked, an awful lot worked. Way more worked than didn't work on this launch, which, given that it's the first time the thing's been up in the air with all the engines running, well, most of the engines running, that's a huge accomplishment.
Well, that's why they were cheering.
Yeah, because, when they had previous flights, like parts of the ship had gone up and even landed. But the upper stage that landed, that has 6 engines in it. And it was really only using 3 of them when they did the original test. The booster that went up and landed was only using either 3 or 5 engines. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they didn't even have all the rest of them installed. So this is the first time that we had the first stage with 33 engines in it that were all running. Well, again, most. Very early on, they lost 2 engines, I think, from the debris that was created when they turned it on.
And is this the point of having so many engines, is that you can have a few that fail and you're like, nah, problem?
Yeah, it's 2 things. One is it's easier to make smaller engines than big engines.
And the cumulative force.
They add up very linearly. So there's no downside really to having a lot of small engines versus one big engine. So that there is that upside for having a lot of engines. The other thing is, if there's a failure, would you rather have 1 out of 3 engines fail, or 1 out of 4, or 1 out of 2, or would you rather have like 3 out of 30?
That would make sense. It's like airplanes. Even though the largest airplanes, if one of the engines fails, the one can still limp it back to a landing.
It can do that. But beyond that, look at the airplane landing gear. They don't have like 1 wheel per thing. They have like 8. Because you're going to blow some tires on that landing.
And you
need to have enough tires to still roll to the gate.
And you've been following this a lot more than I. So what is Elon's goal with this whole rocket plan? What's his end game? Is this to get more of his satellites in orbit? Is this to rent these things out so other people can get things up into space?
That's part of it. There's a lot of them. So the initial driver for building Starship, which used to be called
airplane.
Airplane.
Jefferson Airplane went to Starship, and then just Starship, and then it's Elon's a fan.
It was going to Mars, right? That's the end goal. Is we need to build a rocket capable of bringing human life to Mars, and not just humans that are going to die there, but like all the crap that the humans need in order to survive on Mars, like potatoes.
Right, you have
a rocket full of potatoes.
Supplies.
Yeah, a rocket full of potatoes and a rocket full of Irish people, and you're good to go.
Not racist at all.
What do Irish people hate potatoes? Is it something I'm not aware of?
They love the potato and the whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. And you can make potato whiskey called vodka on Mars.
Vodka. Oh, well, you would have to, because if you're on Mars, you need to drink. You're not getting really good internet connection there. So,
well, no, you are, because before people even arrive, there will be a Starlink constellation around Mars.
Oh, well, see, Elon's okay. He's taking care of that.
Yeah, this was officially why Starlink was created. It was to be the Starlink version of around Earth is the test for the Starlink around Mars.
And then you could link other Starlinks from different planets.
And Starlinks, exactly. The Starlink is called Starlink because it is a link in the stars.
That would make perfect sense.
It's not, otherwise, why wouldn't you call it like Earthlink?
Because that's already taken.
Earthlink?
Yeah, there was an ISP called Earthlink.
Oh, well, whatever.
I mean, they're gone, I think, long gone.
Yeah, they probably could have bought the name.
All their dial-up modems from back in the day.
And the Starlink constellations will talk to each other through lasers. So speed of light.
So even latency will be very low. You could have those.
Latency will be the speed of light.
You'll be able to game with your friends on Mars, kids.
Well, I mean, it's Mars is, even for light, I can't remember how much off the top of my head, but it's a bit of travel.
Oh, come on. You say all this math is easy to do. Just get it right on in there.
Well, I mean, it's not It's not the math part. It's the remembering the distance to Mars.
I thought you were planning this trip. You would know. You're like, this is only.
Oh, God, no. This is going to be a while before this happens. Probably after I'm dead.
No, don't you know? Within 8 years, we're going to be immortals, so it's okay.
Yeah, you may be an immortal. I'm not planning on going down that road.
No, you're like, I am gladly anticipating the great beyond.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's immortality sounds better than it is, and I think it's something that I think young people are a lot more interested in.
Right, because they haven't gotten to the point where they wake up every day going, this again? Right? Yeah,
especially when you get up and you're at home every day and doing the same thing. It really starts to feel like a Groundhog movie.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that would make sense. But there's really only, having a limited amount of time for anything is incentive to get stuff done. When there's no incentive for what you think, the people are lazy and procrastinate now.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I got a million years. That's no problem. I could just lay here for a millennia.
Well, but would you even notice?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll be immortal. It's like nothing will even seem like it makes sense. Time, means nothing. You don't. The bright side is you won't have to listen to your podcasts at 1.25 speed because you will have all the time in the world. You'll be slowing them sons of bitches down to fill the days.
Mm-hmm.
Although there will still be more.
Well, since you were asking, I looked it up. Made. So the delay in communication between Mars and Earth at the speed of light is between 5 and 18 minutes, depending on where the planets are.
Research.
Yeah, in real time. So there you go. I mean, gaming with a latency of 5 minutes would not be super enjoyable unless you're playing a board game.
How about voice calls?
Well, there are more voice messages than calls.
Right. There was did you watch? I don't remember if I finished it or not. There was a series with Hugh Laurie in it that he is playing the captain of a spaceship where things go horribly.
Technically, he's an actor playing the captain.
Okay, yeah. So you've seen this series. I forget.
No,
what
I'm
it's
just
called.
guessing.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, you saw that. Good. And that was one of the whole bits was the video calls. The latency is like 5 minutes. Does not work. Although then the whole thing went to there was an AI that was guessing what was going to be said next. So this is horrible, right?
Well, the whole premise of the show is absurd technology.
Yes. And I'm like, I don't know if I liked it or not. It had humorous moments, but it's one of those things that goes so far out there.
Yeah.
Which I think you have to in order for people to accept that this is just being done to be that far out there.
I think it was a bunch of actors that had no projects and somebody just decided, hey, you know what'd be funny? What if we were like on a cruise ship that was stranded around Mars and it would take us like 3 years to get back home? That'd be hilarious. We should do that.
And then every little mistake takes them further and further off course somehow.
Well, and I'm glad that Hugh Laurie gets to play both an American and a British accent.
Oh, I know. He's genius at the British accent. I don't know how he's
amazing
so
how
good
well
at
he's learned the British accent, isn't it?
I mean, there are so many people that still would not believe that dude's British after watching House.
I know. Well, and that's a good testament to his learning the American accent because my favorite show that he was in still has to be this is back going 20 years probably at least. Was it Jeeves and Wooster?
Jeeves and Wooster.
Yeah.
I know he was in Hugh and Laurie. I don't know. Was this another variety kind of thing? Another comedy bit?
No. Jeeves and Wooster is it's a series of novels, of books written by P.G. Wodehouse, who's a British book writer that wrote
author,
about the upper
writer.
Yeah, he's an author, I guess. But he wrote books about the British upper class at the turn of the century, of the previous century. So it takes place in like the 1920s, pre Great Depression. And in 1990, 91, 92, that time frame, they did a series where it was Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry that played Jeeves and Wooster. And I think that those were absolutely perfect roles for the two of them. So Wooster is the rich, upper class, single British, rich dude. Bertie Wooster, whose days are filled with going to soirees and gentlemen's clubs. And then Jeeves is his impeccable butler.
Well, of course. I mean, a butler has to be named Jeeves, right?
Well, that's where that comes from, is that book, yes.
1990 to 1993, only 23 episodes. You get to watch it in a weekend.
Yeah, that's called 4 seasons in BBC stands.
Maybe. I thought it could have been 8.
Yeah, they don't do a whole lot of episodes per season. But I watched it on PBS back in the 90s, because PBS broadcasts a lot of BBC stuff. And it was hilarious. I really enjoyed it. I'd read the book just like a year previous to watching the series, so that really made it really cool.
Now, how did it relate to the book? Was it one of those things where you'd say the television series was better, the book was better?
Well, the books, I mean, there are multiple books and it's longer, but the books are basically stories about this rich dude and his butler and how all the hilarity that ensues. And I think the TV show did a great job of portraying what was in the books. Like one of the seasons in the TV show and it was one of the stories in the books is how Bertie goes to New York. Well, back then, going to New York meant getting on the Queen Mary and then, taking a 2.5 week long cruise just to come over to the U.S.
Can't believe it's not available for streaming right now.
That series isn't?
No.
It may be on BBC or something.
It says nowhere. Well, according to the website I normally use, justwatch.com, which is a hell of a resource.
Oh, the theft website.
No. This is justwatch.com. They will tell you if a series or movie is on any of the streaming series and if it's free or whether, a lot of the stuff's on Apple TV or Amazon for a price, they'll tell you what it is. This isn't available anywhere at all. And yes,
it's got the best music in it too.
The theft site looks like it hasn't been posted since it looks like 2018, and there's nobody seating right now. So
yeah, and unfortunately, I had the whole series too on my NAS, which died a few years back.
Well, don't you have it on DVD or Blu-ray or something?
Hell no! That's why I had the NAS, so I get rid of all that crap.
And then the NAS dies, and you're like, oh, that's why my
annoying.
Yeah, I went through and flacked all of my audio CDs. We may have talked about that at some point.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Which is why it's been backed up, because the amount of time it takes to flack like 3,000 CDs is a long time.
Oh, dude, I did back in the would have been right around 2000. I did that.
The hardcover book, Jeeves and Wooster, $43 at Amazon. Whoa. Whoa, what is that? A hardcover book. It's also the collected radio dramas.
Oh, yes.
Which looks like that's available on Audible. And it looks like maybe Series 1 is on Prime Video. I thought the other site said it wasn't. You see, what's that all about?
I don't know.
I do not want to run Google, Widevine.
What is that?
That's what they want you to have on your system to run all the DRM stuff.
Right. That's the DRM thing. Yeah, you can install it. There's no problem with it.
It says this video is currently unavailable to watch in my location. See, this is maybe where
VPN it.
Yeah, you're right. What this may turn into is me just running my Roku through the VPN to the UK, and the BBC will be like, "Hey, come and watch this." Because now I want to see it. And I think I live in a time where I should be able to find any remote series from 20, 30 years ago.
Anything that was ever published.
Yeah. And find it and watch it. But we'll see. I mean, there are other places to search, like, BT, DIGG. There's a lot of beautiful sites that you can search for the torrents. And I lost a lot of my bookmarks, which is probably good. I've been using Brave for a long, long time, and it seems like Brave finally got to the point to where it was all screwed up.
Yeah, that's why I switched to the Microsoft one. What the hell is it called?
Edge.
Edge.
Everything is much better after a complete new reinstall. I mean, I noticed things like I was still doing the thing where when you downloaded a file, it was showing up at the bottom of the interface, like the old Chrome. Now it doesn't do it. It's all completely different. And I just didn't even think I should back up my history or bookmarks, but I remembered 99% of the stuff that I need anyway.
Sure.
If you don't remember it, I kind of figure maybe you don't need it.
Well, that's the way I started kind of to feel about all the crap disappearing off my NAS.
Right. It's like I wasn't, and I have to go through mine because there's a lot of series that I have on there that I know I'm probably never going to watch.
Yeah.
Although I'm a hoarder. I just downloaded the 4 seasons of Sea Hunt with Lloyd Bridges.
Oh, my God.
I know.
That wasn't even good when it came out.
I don't know. I kind of remember watching it as a kid. So I'm like, well, I'll download it. I'll take a look. But there is a lot of stuff on my NAS that I've watched.
Yeah. I watched almost everything that I lost. I've seen once, some things maybe twice, but I've never, and this is what made it not feel as bad losing it, is I've never, literally in about 6 years that I had the NAS running, ever went back to rewatch something.
No, you watch the stuff and then you go on to the next
and the
thing.
only reason I saved it on the NAS is like, I really enjoyed this. I should keep a copy on the NAS.
Yeah, and for the things that I've rewatched, they've been the series like Seinfeld and Friends, which I can find online to download at any time.
You can find that pretty easily, not even to download. You just watch them pretty easily. But like I think HBO's got every single episode posted.
Now on BT Dig, they're showing the Jeeves and Woosters, a bunch of torrents, but they're all between 5 and 7 years old. So I'm guessing probably
I don't think it's been remade.
No, I'm just saying this was when they were posted.
When they were first. Yeah.
Oh, here's one, Jeeves and Wooster remastered 15 gig from 2 months ago. That might exist.
That might be the whole series.
Yeah, DVD rip. It looks like, I know I'll be hitting that magnet link after after the show. I need to start routing things so my torrents.
My NAS even has a built-in torrent searcher.
Well, that's nice.
Like it's got a torrent app and that includes the search capability. So you could be a total Luddite and still connect up and get stuff off torrents through it.
I still need to set it up so that I've got a machine that does nothing but torrents, that can always be on the NAS so I don't have to go back and forth. Because when we do the shows, I like to jump off, although I don't know if that helps anymore. I was on a Chicago server.
You got 100 gigabit now or something, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's it. I was on NordVPN, a Chicago-based server yesterday, and did a speed test and got over 1,200 Mbps down through Nord. Where I could get 14 to 15 now direct without Nord, but it's like, damn, that's crazy speeds. Over a gig.
Yeah, over a gig is pretty awesome.
And then that's what you need the VPN for, so you don't get the DMCA letters. Allegedly, I would never really do this. I'm just talking about this for educational and entertainment purposes.
Well, there's always been an exception to the downloading legality thing, which is you have always been allowed to download a copy of something that you have a license to.
Well, right. They certainly can't go after you if you own a DVD of something for downloading it, because you're like, well, I own it.
I got it scratched up. I'm just re-getting what I bought. Now, this is why they went away from owning material to
Streaming.
renting material.
Yes.
Because now you never own it.
Now, I was amazed just on that same kind of a topic.
Mm-hmm.
I saw an article the other day that it's like 3 months away or something. Netflix is shutting down their DVD mailing operations. I'm like, they're still doing that?
I'm surprised.
I know. Who's still on the DVD? Anybody out there? If you are, I want to know. If you're still doing the DVD by mail thing through Netflix.
Well, you better order some DVDs by mail of shit you can't find online real quick.
Well, I know. And here's the thing I'm wondering. Are they going to make everybody return those last DVDs? Because what are they? I mean, I'm guessing maybe they're selling them all off. I don't know. That's an interesting business
think they have
model.
To destroy them.
Maybe.
For licensing.
Because all of how many times have some of those things been rented? You want to talk about discs that didn't play well.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the ones from Netflix back in the day, but it's like, that's hard to believe that's where Netflix started. Now you almost forget that was a thing. Of course, before that, it was the horrible thing that you had to leave the house and go to Blockbuster or your local video store and try to find something. Netflix is like, no, we could do this better.
That'll never catch on.
Right.
Said Blockbuster.
Well, and it did. Well, here's the thing. How much money had the post office made? And I know they gave Netflix a really good deal, but we're talking a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that going away, just like everything else, the post office is in.
And what did people use now? I've never used one, but I think they've been around for decades now, these little red boxes.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Basically a vending machine for popular DVDs. So your selection is 5 discs.
Usually outside of a grocery store or something
outside of a gas station or something. I guess there are still people out there that have the DVD thing. I don't have a single one.
I mean, I've still got DVD players. I haven't used one in a long time. I mean, because I don't throw anything away. So there's that. I still have, I don't even know if it works, in my rack where my main TV is here. I mean, I've got my Roku. I've got my Raspberry Pi that's running Kodi. And that is
what do you need that for?
The Raspberry Pi running Kodi? Because it streams anything from the NAS in the basement. So that's how I watch all the TV
series. Does the Roku not stream anything from the NAS in the basement? Why not?
The Roku finally can. They finally added the ability.
It should have had DLNA forever. It's
not a great way. It's clunky. So Kodi works a lot better. It remembers exactly what you've watched, which is also good. It shows you a little check mark next to the thing. So if you go back after a while, like, oh, where was I in that series? It will show you that. So, I mean, there's things that, and really a Raspberry Pi is cheap enough that it just seems to work a little bit better. But that's where we watch 99. We don't have a cable subscription anymore. But in that same area where those little devices are, with another router in there and another network switch, because that's where a lot of things branch off from there to the rest of the house, is a old DVD player / VHS recorder combo.
Oh my God.
I know. So you
can't possibly work.
I know. You could take your VHS tapes and convert them to digital, which, these are the things that I've been saying for probably way more years than I want to admit, because our wedding video is still on VHS and hasn't been looked at since the time we got married in 95.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, we should probably digitize that if you ever want to see
exactly the same, except like a few pounds less.
But
you already have thick glasses back then or not?
I had glasses. Yeah. I mean, I was pounds less. I was on Vicodin at the time because I was in a car accident the day before the wedding. That should have been a sign.
So you had puffy cheeks. That's
maybe. But it would be interesting now that there are the AI from who's the company that puts this out there. They have a thing for both videos and for photos that seems to work really well. Topaz is the company.
Yeah.
And it will upsample your video and it will understand, through their AI, this is what the system's doing. It's looking for people. So that way, when it upsamples, it tries to even everything out and not look all pixelated.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
So these are the things. I'm guessing this is what's used every now and then on those various sites where you can find television shows. I found things like Dark Angel, the series with Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
And Michael Weatherly. I mean, we can't forget that. He was in that. That was one of the
back then.
Well, it was one of the better sci-fi shows back in the day.
Yeah, it wasn't all that sci-fi, but it was just noir.
And it was Jessica Alba in very tight outfits all the time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And she was hot back then.
Yeah. I mean, she's not bad now, but she was hot back then.
Yeah.
And I've run into these now where it's like, upscaled and enhanced, and it looks really good. And I'm assuming this is the kind of software that is doing it. It takes it, and I've also run it across a couple of old DVDs, and it does take out the scan line. So when you notice the old-fashioned DVDs, every picture is only half the picture.
Right.
So this fixes that. It does a lot of really cool stuff. And with the one that for the photos, my wife had a small photograph of her grandfather, black and white, from the war back in the day. Scanned that thing in and it looked okay. Photoshop color corrected, made it look better, ran it through this AI, and it just cleaned everything. I mean, it was just amazing the quality these things can pull out. So what you can maybe bring some of these older videos. I mean, I don't know if it's really worth doing that on the wedding video or anything, but if you have old videos that are worthy of saving for whatever reason, the technology is getting there that can actually make them better, because the youngsters today don't realize what 480p looked like. And then that was
considered good.
I know.
Because we had 480p and then the shitty stuff was 480i. And the really shitty stuff that was basically broadcast TV was 240.
And the VHS resolution was not good.
Yeah, VHS was 240.
So that was 240. That's when the VHS Plus, or what was it called? The Hi-Fi
Super VHS.
Right. That finally brought it up to like 480, right? That was
that was 400 at a maximum, because it was all analog. So you didn't have to have the digital numbering schemes, but the typical TV broadcast, as broadcast in the US, was 240. It's a postage stamp of pixels.
And that's basically what the VHS, the VHS was even less than that, because the VHS never looked as good as when you were watching something live. So it was losing something.
If you bought a videotape for $100 and it had a movie on it like Jaws, you would see on VHS something that was comparable to what you can receive off the air.
Gotcha. If you recorded it yourself, then
if you recorded it was never as good a quality, because it was all analog. I mean, that's the thing is, with analog, every recording degrades, including the first recording.
Now, what do you think of? We talked about the insanity.
That's why I don't like record albums.
Well, I understand that. But now the other insane thing is people are buying vintage VHS tapes that are still
fucking insane.
That for big bucks. They're
so fucking insane.
Our buddy over on YouTube, who I've been watching for a decade maybe now, Marquez Brownlee, that does all the tech reviews.
Yeah.
He just bought at auction an iPhone 1 that was still sealed in a box, paid $40,000 for it.
Boy, oh boy, wish I would have done that.
I know. Bought it or saved your iPhones when you...
saved it instead of throwing it away, yeah.
Now, if you had one still sealed in a box, they're going for... This was cheaper.
That's crazy.
There were people that recently paid $50,000 or $60,000 at different auctions.
It was... how much was it? I want to say I paid $500 for that phone.
When it was new?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did I.
When it came out.
You had an iPhone 1. Which means if you would have taken that phone, kept it sealed in the box, never used it, today you could have sold it easily for $40,000.
Yeah.
And that's what he did with this was, it wasn't like he was buying this based on the fact that, well, these are going to continue going up, so in 5 years, 10 years, I can sell it for $100. He made a video where he opened the box and looked at everything inside. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm killing the value. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, he's a very rich dude.
Oh, I know. Well, I think his family started all right, but his YouTube channel is one that's making boku bucks. I don't know.
He was like the
original.
Boy, can I use this word or not? He was the token black dude doing tech reviews on YouTube. Like, well, he's the OG.
Well, he was the original black guy doing tech reviews, and he started
That's literally what I just said.
But he was started when he was like 10 or 12 years old. He was very young
when
he started this.
I don't know if I remember him being that young, but he was definitely a teenager.
Yeah, he was. It was amazing that he was doing these videos, and then that it grew into. I know you have the little thing you can look up approximately what the YouTube channels are worth.
Yeah.
I bet you the MKB HD one is worth.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of channels. That's the thing that all do when they get big enough is they get a bunch of channels.
And then you keep running that content out
and
there.
Then split it. Yeah, because you get more stuff. More stuff. More money. You get more money.
More money, more problems.
Yeah, exactly. By having multiple channels than you do.
As of April 2023, he has, according to Wikipedia, 19.4 million subscribers across all channels and 3.61 billion total video views.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lot of subscribers right there.
Yes. He started YouTube in 2008. He was born in 93. So 15?
15. Yeah, that's about right. Because I remember when he was definitely still a teenager, so that sounds about right.
And has done, I mean, he's always done good videos. But he was the first. He was the first one that went into, I don't remember the brand, but there was the Red camera. He was the first one that was using cameras that cost like more than a car,
Right.
It's like, is that a little overkill for YouTube? Maybe, but he was making so much money that he kept trying to push things into, the Red video equipment, that he just kept pushing the quality on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And does a very good job breaking the stuff down. He's not a fanboy, because even as somebody that uses Apple products, he will bash Apple in a heartbeat if he doesn't like what they're doing. And he's probably one of the few people on YouTube that if he says something, Apple goes, "Oh shit, we better fix that."
Yeah, you're probably right. I think there's a lot of people that that Apple pays attention to that have huge followings like that.
Yes. I mean, not us. Apple does not care what we say.
Well, of course not.
Although you use their products, you just leave them in the box for a year or two before you set them up.
I do. I mean, hey, maybe I should have left that Mac Mini in the box for 30 years.
I know.
And it'd be worth $40,000.
Or more.
Or more.
I get gear and I've got it up and running within moments of getting it into the house.
Yeah. What's the point in that?
I don't know. I have a new monitor though.
Oh, what'd you buy?
I finally got tired of the 24-inch.
Good.
So I now, and although again, I'm like, I really wish I had an OLED. I do. But the OLEDs are so far out there in price right now. But this Dell, it's a Dell. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Everything on my system now is Dell, and I feel dirty. But it was a Dell 32-inch.
They always have overpriced monitors, man.
Well, it's 32-inch 4K for $350.
Okay.
So it wasn't a bad price. And again, I mean, I'm starting from a point of really crappy eyesight, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But the amount of screen real estate, and here's the sad thing, after using it for like a day, it's like, this doesn't seem much bigger than what I had.
You should have gotten bigger.
I know, it feels like about the same. It's like,
it is about the same. It's not that much bigger. I don't know why you got something that small. That's tiny.
What I really need, I think, is like a 53 or maybe a 52 where it just keeps going and going.
43, I'll tell you, a 43 is a perfect size, which is why I have a 47.
Right.
Because I got to do one better
much?
than. Yeah. What?
Overcompensating much?
Well, just a little bit. Just tip.
You should see the size of mine, baby.
But that, I think the 43 is the biggest reasonable monitor to put on a desk.
Oh, yeah.
If it's bigger than that, it really should be hanging behind your desk.
Yes. Well, you need to have some way to keep it manageable.
Yeah. The 47 that I've got, and I've got one of these gaming monitors that's like high refresh rate and shit, which is pretty good. I've kind of actually gotten used to it. So now I'm stuck. I'm going to have to keep buying only high refresh rate monitors.
Right. Because you don't want to go backwards.
Yeah. Because on my Mac, I've got what is this? This is a 43-inch Samsung. And that thing's really nice. That's it's not high refresh rate, but it's really crisp. It's an OLED. But here's the problem with OLED. OLEDs have really nice colors if you're looking at a photograph. But there's a downside to OLEDs.
Yes.
And the downside is they burn in.
So if you leave something on there, you will,
it's
like
just
the
like the old CRTs.
Really?
You have to have a screensaver. You have to keep changing what's on the monitor. Otherwise, you're going to get burn-in ghosting.
Because every pixel is lit. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
Every pixel is lit, and they have a tendency to get stuck if you keep them on all the time. So
maybe this one's not that bad.
It's really going back. That's why OLED's great on the watch. It's great on the phone. Because everything's always changing on there, right?
Right.
The only thing that might get burned in on the watch is the hour markers, and who gives a shit.
And it's nice to have the actual total blackness on the watch, where the monitor, when the monitor's lit, when there's other things going on.
Dude, these gaming monitors have insanely high contrast with LCD.
I like the contrast.
It's like 1,000,000 to 1 or something. I mean, it's just like black is black. It's pretty much the same black as you get on a OLED. The difference is the color saturation is a little bit more muted, which is honestly what I'm used to over the last 40 years. So
right, and that's kind of what I'm looking at, and it's like, but you get used to it. I'm noticing things in programs, which is interesting. I'm noticing like lines in Adobe Audition that I've never seen before on the old monitor.
Yeah, because you can differentiate the subtle changes.
Yeah, so it's very weird. I mean, it's nice, but now gray looks shitty to me. So I probably have to go through on things like mix and calibrate it a little more. I ready to bring the gamma down by like a quarter.
Yeah, point. You can usually do that visually pretty easily. I've got one of those monitor calibration tools back when I used to do a lot of art shit.
Oh yeah, you have that. You have to have that for photographs if you're printing them.
Yeah. So you'd actually, because that has effectively a little tiny camera that you put on top of your monitor. And then it'll go through and look at what each color on your monitor is, and then provide you with the offsets of all the colors in order for them to be correct and accurate compared to what your print product's going to be, because you're always trying to match your screen to what the final print product's going to end up being, because that's what people are paying for. That's what you give a shit about.
Right.
What it looks like on the screen doesn't matter as much. So, but the closer your screen is to the finished product, the better you can edit and make decisions on your edits that'll be eventually printed. And I was doing large format, so my stuff was going to be like 20 by 40 inches, 60 by 40 inches. So, any mistakes, anything that's off is going to get magnified that much. So it was important to be calibrated, but goddamn, I haven't plugged that thing in years.
May not work. I was thinking about getting one. I'm like, I don't need that. I mean, I've got 4 or 5 monitors in the house. I'm like, well, you could, every one of them would look better.
They're all different.
Yes. They're all different. Bemrose was talking about that on Grumpy Old Ben's, and his wife was annoyed because all of his monitors, the colors were off. And she's like, doesn't that bother you? And he's like, I'm fucking colorblind. Do you not understand that part?
Oh, yeah, he is. I forgot. That's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
Like, I don't see it. So there, if you want to fix it, you go fix it. I don't care.
By the way, he's not just colorblind. He's fucking colorblind.
Oh, yes. I mean, you don't want to, this is an extra level up on the colorblind scale.
It's the level beyond like, oh, I'm sorry. It's more to the level of like, Yeah, you really have no clue what a color is, do you?
Nope. You really need to live in life in black and white. The oddity, which
I think it's more like purple and white, but
maybe, yeah. The weird thing is when you're moving things from one monitor to the next now.
Yeah.
Not
different
only
size.
the color, well, it's making the adjustment, which there is so much more resolution on the 4K monitor that Windows must be doing this, which is kind of annoying, which is they're making it about the same size that it was on the other monitor, I guess, which makes sense, but this can also really kludge things up pretty quick if you're moving them from one monitor to the next.
Well, and this is why what I do is I always look for a pixel density on a monitor, and I match those. So that way, when you move shit from monitor to monitor, it doesn't change size.
That would make sense. But now I can tell, like in the clean feed window, the bottom of the thing is black. When I move it over to this main monitor, it is very much gray. But I think that could just be that the two side monitors are much darker than this one. So it'll
it's not even darker. They just have a different gamma profile.
Yes. So it'll take a little more dialing in. You always think you're going too far with something, and then you go back and go, it's still, you could use a little more. There's always a tweak that needs to be made. And the reality is for the monitors, I just want them to look good. It doesn't, the exact color replication is not a big deal for me. Because even for the video that I would do, it's like it's close enough where you're not going to make a small little change that's going to be so far off. But it's nice to have the extra real estate. It's now I need to start playing with things where you can have a couple of things on the monitor that'll snap to it. So to make better use of all of this space. Like Space, the Final Frontier, where Elon's rocket tried to go.
That's right. Almost got there. Not quite.
Until you and your...
I'll be back down there in about 4 months.
That's when Elon's going up again? Now, you didn't get the up-close look at the rocket. I mean, that was depressing.
I know. I'm so bummed about that, dude. That was totally me being stupid. So the official story is that I assumed, and you know what happens when you assume?
You make an ass out of you.
Exactly. And even me. And what I assumed was that since they were ready to launch the rocket each morning, and then, it was canceled because for whatever reason they had delays, that they had closed off that section of the road that's next to the rocket. It's basically the road to SpaceX. And I just made that assumption because it seemed reasonable at the time. And then while we're watching the launch, the photographer that was standing next to me was telling me that SpaceX was open until midnight the night before the launch because there were so many people and they wanted to have everybody come and look at it. I'm like, son of a bitch. I had tons of opportunity to drive down there and actually go right up to the rocket and look at it because they were open.
They were just being like, where's Gene?
They were, they were drinking beer, just like the whole place was trashed afterwards. They figured we're going to launch a rocket anyway. Who cares?
We're going
to burn all the trash from the rocket plumes anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
It's one interesting way to get rid of your trash.
I know, right? So you just incinerate it, and it's all totally kosher because you're launching a rocket ship. But yeah, I was bummed out. So I will definitely do that for the next one. I'll come out a few days early and then make a plan to go down and actually go to the site, to the launch facility, and look at the rocket, because apparently you can get to within like 100 feet of it.
Well, that's pretty cool. How tall is that thing?
So the SpaceX rocket is 355 feet, I believe.
That's impressive. 35 stories.
It is about 4 times the height of the Statue of Liberty.
Well, and the Statue of Liberty can't fly into space, or can it?
Or can it? Exactly.
Can it? Yeah, we don't know.
It's about 2.5 times taller than the space shuttle was.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So if you put the space shuttle on the nose of the external tank, the way it was supposed to be done in the original draft, which is then it would have survived, first of all, every one of the explosions that they had. But if you would have put it on there, this is still taller.
That's fairly impressive.
It's about probably 15 to 20% taller than a Saturn V that did the original Hoax moon landing.
What you're saying is Elon's rocket is massive.
Yeah, and it's about 100 times bigger than Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, but
rocket.
Bezos haven't been exploding yet, so.
Well, they've been exploding. We just haven't seen the videos of the explosions.
That could be true.
They explode theirs on the ground. They don't explode them in the air.
Well, that's probably the smarter way to go.
No, that's a dumber way to go because you're not getting all the measurements that way. By exploding them in the air, they're in the environment they're supposed to be in. I'm definitely a believer in Musk's methodology here for testing. And this is all kidding aside. I think you gain so much more valuable information by sending something that isn't finished yet into space, or at least attempting to, and then measuring everything along the way until something stops working, versus just testing each component locked into a amount separate from the actual ship on Earth, and then getting everything to not explode on Earth. Like, that still leaves a lot of doubt when you can start sending up your starships on these test runs and they actually make it all the way through and they land. That's a pretty good confirmation. And we saw an example of that difference between what Musk is doing and what traditional rocket companies are doing in the test of the Boeing capsule that is supposed to be providing half the flights to the International Space Station versus what SpaceX did with their Dragon capsule. The contract for both of those was at the same time, and they were both proceeding on roughly the same schedule. And Musk SpaceX finished their capsule a little bit earlier than Boeing did, but they were fairly close together, except that the SpaceX tests worked and the capsule was validated, but the Boeing one in its first flight experienced, I think it was 134 anomalies.
That's a lot.
It's an awful lot. They each one had to get fixed and validated before they allowed the next flight, which took several years. So now Boeing still hasn't had a single flight on their capsule, although it's soon supposed to. Meanwhile, SpaceX has been the only one delivering stuff to the ISS now for several years. So I think that this method that they're using, it might be a little more expensive to keep actually building things and then trying to have them fly, but they get so much more data at the same time.
And that would make sense. The data is good.
Yeah. And it's the same thing he's doing with the cars, with Teslas. Every Tesla that's out there is recording data for the automatic driving, even if automatic driving is not turned on. So the entire time you're driving a Tesla, the computer in your car is predicting what it would do and comparing it to what you're doing.
Elon knows
building
all.
A database.
Yeah, Elon knows all.
I don't know if he knows all, but he definitely wants to go home to Mars.
I like that. I didn't know that's where Elon originated from. I thought he was from South Africa.
Yeah, Johannesburg, Mars. That's where he's originally from.
Right. Well, you would know, because you've got all the clearance.
I'm just a humble podcaster.
Wait, when did you become humble?
Always been humble. Well, it says right on my business card.
I thought that was completely legitimate businessman.
Yeah,
or did you add humble?
That's my other business card.
Now it's completely humble businessman.
Uh-huh.
And I tell you what, I don't know. But as I said, we do have some donations today. Maybe we should talk about those before the last.
Yeah, before we wrap up.
Before the last 3 minutes of the show.
Uh-huh.
Which we have a tendency to do.
We do.
I mean, I know a lot of people will be surprised to know that we are a value for value show. Unrelenting.show.
It doesn't mean we ever hit it.
This is true. Hit it. This is absolutely true. But Dale from down under, the beautiful land of Australia, comes in today with $103.48.
Wow. Holy shit.
I know. That may be the biggest, or if not, it's in the ballpark.
Yeah, he's well on his way to having dinner with us in Chicago.
I mean, of course, you're not going to pay for his airplane flight
Obviously
from
not.
Australia, because, I mean, that you would have to raise that a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be like $10,000 for the ticket.
But he included a note that says, unrelenting down under. Nice. Then says, daily take 250 milliliters, that's ml, right? Milliliters?
Yeah.
Of beetroot juice for the blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
250 grams or more of the pineapple, the bromelain.
Yep. We talked about that.
For the digestive health, especially in high meat diets. I mean, yesterday.
For eyeballs.
Yeah, I know. And I had a little Delmonico steak yesterday. Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Pineapple in with lemon blend instead of sweetener. Yeah, the sweeteners are bad.
Yep.
And we've learned that. Where and the lemon's not bad without the sweetener, but if you have to do it. No,
it's really not. It's because when you grind everything up like that, you don't taste as harsh an acid as you do if you just pour the juice out of it.
Right. And I mean, for a while I was doing the Truvia packs, but that's the crap in there that's along with the stevia leaf, the bad stuff. So I've gotten away from that. But a little raw honey, I would guess, mixed in with the lemon if you need to cut it. But you're right. I don't think you do.
A little molasses.
That too. The rind does have a tendency to.
The rind, I will tell you this, the rind is bittersweet.
As is doing this show.
Yeah. But it really is. It has, like, if you chew a little bit of lemon rind, and you could spit it out, you don't have to swallow it, but what you'll notice is it's a little bitter immediately, but as you chew it, there's a sweetness to it.
As you get down, as it starts emulsifying.
And what happens in the blunter? Well, you accelerate that process a lot.
This is true because you are emulsifying the hell out of it.
Well, you're also shredding it. So,
but thank you, Dale, from Down Under. It is appreciated. Everybody that supports Unrelenting, and our buddy Josh Mandel coming in with $19.94 says long overdue donation for Unrelenting.
Nice, thank you.
I mean, it's good to know that people are still
now that
listening.
We're getting paid, we might actually have to have the show every week now instead of every other week.
We've been trying to keep that one up. I mean, we record all of our shows on one long weekend and then release them throughout the year.
True.
A lot of people don't know.
Yes, I know.
I mean, in reality, by the time you're hearing this, I haven't spoken to Gene in probably 6 months.
Weeks. Yeah, this is for sure.
The way we like to do it that way. Keeps everything fresh. Keeps everything.
Well, it keeps it easy rolling for us because then we just have like a one long weekend every 6 months. We got to actually talk to each other.
Yeah. And then go, what do we think's going to happen? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the hardest part, then releasing the stuff.
Now, this is kind of inside baseball, but we actually record about a third more shows than you guys hear because we record some segments with both opinions being opposite. And then we pick the one that fits the best for the current narrative.
Right. Well, that's how you have to do it. So that's when you know when the right trigger comes up, you throw that in. The reality is the world's not that hard to predict at this point.
Not at all.
Our buddy Darian Rundell comes in with, I think, my favorite donation of the day, $5.65. Well, I mean, the donation's awesome. Thank you. The comment was my favorite.
Yeah.
It says, dude, Gene has to stop pretending he knows about audio. You sound great on any mic. Gene sounds bad on every mic.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds like an opinion there, buddy. You just don't like my voice. It has nothing to do with audio.
I keep trying to make it sound better. I do. I keep trying to tweak it. I get in there. I play with the filters.
Mm-hmm.
He says, by the way, I have all the mics you've mentioned. SM7 is best for my voice, but not all. I've used an SM7 on probably 30 to 50 albums. So he's a professional.
Not a professional speaker. He's a professional musician, maybe.
Could be. Musicians know what they're doing. They know the sound.
No. I tell you what, if he produces talk radio, that I would take advice from. Somebody that's an actual talk radio producer, I'd be like, yes, sir, I will tune it this way.
You always sound a little bit underwater. That's what I always try to get boosted a little bit.
That's called my nose.
I know. It's the air frequencies that you try to get where it doesn't sound like we're both on completely different microphones with which is the hardest part, I think, of doing anything where you're trying to match voices.
The irony is we were on the exact same microphone for a long time, but we don't sound like it.
No, and we're very close because I'm on the RE20 and you're on the RE320.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We both got the big foam ball on them.
Yeah.
Because it helps with the plosives.
And mostly it looks cool.
Well, it's the plosives for me.
Yeah.
I don't like the plosives.
I don't plosive much.
I don't either, but that's one of the things that annoys me the most, especially with, there's a lot of people with the SM7Bs on YouTube.
Yeah.
That pop every...
There's way too many people with SM7Bs on YouTube that have no business running an SM7B.
Because they don't know how to use a microphone.
Because they should be using like a USB Yeti.
Probably get it a little further away. They should probably be using a shotgun microphone just out of frame.
Yeah. And you know what? I've got a new mic coming. I ordered a new mic because I saw a video where it had extremely good results. It's a who's the brand? It was a shit. I can't remember the brand off. The
one you just ordered?
It might have been a Sennheiser. Yeah, I think it was a Sennheiser. Yeah, it's a lavalier, but it's an expensive lavalier mic.
Well, yeah, because cheap lavs are really not suck. Good.
No.
One sound wise too, they pick up your
and
shirt.
And the thing is, it's not even an expensive one. I would say it's mid-price, $300.
Well, that's more expensive than most for a lav.
A high-end lavalier is $1,800. They're more expensive than like most mics. If you look at the ones that are actually used in professional production.
Yes. Well, they're like actually looking for good sound.
Yeah. Or somebody doing a real interview, not like a podcast interview. They are insanely expensive. But this one got rated really well. And what I really liked about it as a unique feature is it is completely isolated. So it does not have the issue that some lavaliers have where the cable from the mic acts as an antenna and you get extraneous frequencies that are reverberating. You're picking up
you
noise.
Don't want to pick up RF interference with
it's the kind of stuff Adam always has with his light switches.
Right, the dimmers. You don't want that. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a big difference between a lav that you plug directly in and one that is wireless too.
Yeah. Although the new generation of wireless lavs are incredibly good sounding, and they're not wireless lavs, but the little wireless packs for the lavs.
Right.
Because the way you should do it is you take a $1,800 lav,
you put it into an $1,800 broadcast box.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's another $1,800 receiver.
Oh no, that's $2,900.
And by the time it's all said and done,
4 channels on it.
And that's how you do it.
Yeah, if you want to build a professional studio, you start with $100,000, and then you end with about $10 left over for lunch.
But everything looks good on camera then.
Well, it looks good, but more importantly, it sounds good because everybody knows the secret to having really good video is to have really good audio.
This is true.
The audio makes it. That's what I'm saying about seeing this launch in person versus what, you could get a much better view watching YouTube channels because they've got these huge zoom cameras, right? But what you're not getting is that insane sound.
Well, yeah. Elon punched his base right into your face.
It was crazy. And it's so hard to describe because it's not the loudness that you really feel. Or it's not the loudness that you're hearing. It's not like going to a rock concert where everything's just cranked up really loud.
It's the subsonic frequencies.
Yeah, it's literally the subsonics that are vibrating your whole body.
Well, yeah, and at that level, they're vibrating the ground.
They are. They're exactly. It's like
it's not easy to vibrate the ground.
You literally feel the rocket launching, and it's hard to describe, but I think it really is like frequencies from 0 to about 10 hertz. Like shit your ears don't pick up. But you absolutely know they're there.
Yes, you can feel them.
Yeah.
I mean, normally they're there because then you also have the very loud sound that your ears can hear.
Right. Yeah. And I was probably a mile away. I mean, I was a good safe distance. And I was across the bay, basically, from the launch, along with 10,000 of other crazy rocket people that all showed up. I thought there might be like 500 to 1,000 people there. There's 10,000 people there.
Really? Now, were they mainly science nerds? Were they looking for a ride home?
They were. This is surprising to me. They were mainly people our age.
So 100.
Yeah, ish. People that are 100-ish mostly.
So the youngsters aren't interested in the rockets going
very
up?
few. There was some, but not many of the millennials and the Zoomers there.
The youngsters don't care about the science, I guess.
Nope. They have a phone already. They don't really need anything else.
Right. That's all we need. Everything we need's on the phone.
I think all progress has stopped with the phone.
I can watch
TikTok.
it. Well, obviously. TikTok. That is the scourge of humanity, along with the other social media networks. I don't think they're all that different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care what China's doing to the Uyghurs. This fucking TikTok shit, it's got to stop.
I know. Well, this is why we have a whole generation whose brains are basically mush.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress.
I have to say, I had some amazing food while I was down there.
Well, what'd you have?
I had a whole blackened red snapper.
Oh, is that the photo you sent?
I sent you the photo of that.
Looks
awesome,
a little fishy.
Yeah, like a little fishy. No, it looked awesome.
Great joke.
It was so good. Oh, it just like the flesh was just falling off the fish, and it was a fully intact fish. So super good. Then I had some blackened tuna, which was exactly the way I like it, which is cold inside.
Oh, you like your tuna like you like your women.
I like my tuna raw, just like I like my steak. Very, very good. Had an awesome burgers. I mean, pretty much every food type that I had down there, but I was trying to eat more seafood than normal on this trip, was exceptional. It was very, very, very tasty. This is the off season for South Padre, so there's a lot of places that are open and you don't really have to wait for anything.
Well, that's even better.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Nobody wants to wait.
Now, there's a downside to having the off season there, and that is there was about one cop for every 10 vehicles on the road.
Did you get stopped for speeding? Is this the...
I never got stopped for speeding, but my radar detector was picking up 3, sometimes 4 different radar signatures at the same time.
Well, they're just looking for your business. That's all.
They're just trying to be helpful, I guess.
They are trying to take that donation money right back out of your pocket.
Uh-huh. And of course, the speed limit is like 35 for the whole island.
Are they one of those things that changes? They have a button they can push that lowers it to 25 while you're driving already?
Yeah, it was like, I did have some cops pass me because I was driving slow, I guess. But
and you waved nice when they're, how you doing?
It's, well, now that I'm legal as far as having a license plate and everything, I'm all fine driving around.
Does it still say Russian embassy?
Yeah.
Immune from all of your laws?
I did not have a Russian embassy plate. I do have a souvenir plate, though. I have from a long time ago in a country far, far away. I have an CIA license plate.
Oh, now that's nice. That can get you. Mm-hmm. That can get you.
Doesn't get you shit here, but back in the day when you were in Central America, it did get you certain privileges.
That is cool. Our buddy Johnny Hipwell also came in with a $333 donation. I know we were in the donation segment.
$333. It's amazing.
I know. You put the decimal point over a couple and it's $3.33.
Mm-hmm.
Still greatly appreciated. He's like, Everlasting Life, fastest, want to talk about a cold opener. Yeah, I thought that was a good cold opener on the last episode. And then we got a couple of boostograms, and I've got to figure out a better way to monitor these because now the system that I went to doesn't really show you what show they come in for. So when you got 8,000 different shows, it's harder to figure out.
Yeah, you need a better system there because you shouldn't need to put them all in the same freaking.
Well, I can get different Get Alby accounts, but that would seem like a pain, although I could do that.
Why? I mean, that's if you're going to use Get Alby, which I've played around with, but I haven't committed to yet.
Multiple wallets, way to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's no cost.
True.
Because for me, like I'm paying $20 a month for a wallet.
Yes, sucker.
So getting multiple wallets kind of defeats the purpose.
But coming in with a 3,333 Satoshis, our buddy, comic strip blogger. He says,
wow.
Yes, I am not offended by imitating my voice in the slightest. The funnier,
I'm
the
offended
better.
On his behalf, goddammit.
You're offended for your friend CSB. When I do the impression, I try to bring it up to a level that is worthy of the legend.
Well, it sounds just like him. I mean, that's CSB. The problem. This is why I'm offended that you're doing it.
It's too close.
It's way too close. Yes.
It could be. And then listening live, here's a boost from R. Davis 87, boosted 8,000 Satoshi, says, thank you for your courage. How much would I have to boost to get Darren O on video? A lot.
Oh, you can. Darren O's been on video.
Yeah, we have an unrelenting YouTube channel. It's not very well populated.
There's still like 2 subscribers there.
Yeah. Well, as we've talked about, there's way more people on the YouTubes than on the podcasters.
Just not watching us.
True. But we keep playing around.
Here's the thing about YouTube.
We just need a format.
What I figured out about YouTube is that if you want to build an audience, unfortunately, because it's not my favorite topic, but you pretty much have to do a gossip show. You have to do a show that looks at all the drama happening.
Yeah, and that sucks.
That is what gets new people coming to your channel. Now, you could also do like, puppy videos and shit like that.
Yay!
But it's harder to pivot from puppy videos into what we talk about, which is show about nothing and quasi politics.
Wait, can we just get video? I mean, my sister has a puppy now that's just a few weeks old.
Oh, really?
Should I just take video of that?
Yeah.
And then we can just talk. We could do
all
our
we
show,
gotta do
but add the video of the puppy.
Have a puppy, put some cartoon music behind the puppy in the video, and then have some Japanese girls laughing. And that guaranteed you will end up getting a bunch of likes and views.
It's all about the Japanese girls laughing, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to have that because that's like the element that makes people want to forward it to somebody else. If it's just a puppy, they'll watch it and they'll go, oh, it's cute. But if there's like Japanese girls' laughter behind it, it's like, you got to watch this.
It adds a ton to the watchability factor.
Yeah, for better or worse.
The same booster came in shortly after there with another 8,000. R. Davis 87. Question for Sir Gene. How many more documents will you release over social media? As always, thank you for your courage and thank you for continuing to provide information, entertainment. I look forward to unrelenting.
Did he specify the types of documents or just general documents?
I guess just general documents.
I mean, I probably release at least 3 or 4 a day ever since we've been doing the podcast.
The Sir Gene document.
Thousands of them there. Now, the thing is, I mostly release stuff on No Agenda Social and occasionally some things on Twitter, but not nearly as many. And the beauty of No Agenda Social is that there's a limit as to how long everything stays there. So it's kind of like the same thing that I do with Signal.
Yeah,
I have my
your
Signal
thing
set to a 30
destroy. Yes.
Yeah, 30-day destruction. So No Agenda Social is actually 7 days. So if you miss something that was 7 days old, it's gone. At least from there. Now, if somebody else keeps their shit much longer on a different federated server and they have a feed to your stuff, they can certainly archive all that on their end for much longer. But No Agenda Social, and this is, I mean, it may actually be not exactly 7 days, but this is from talking to Adam and the fact that more people, myself included, have been uploading videos directly to it.
Yeah, which takes a lot
killing
of space.
their space, and they have to keep shrinking the duration that they host stuff and keep it on there. And I think it was right around a week, maybe 8 days, something like that is what it's down to.
Well, I know a lot of people that listen to us are on No Agenda Social. If you are, Aaroner has just been asking about going to the value for value model and expanding it. I'm like, no, don't expand. But yes, go to value for value.
Yeah.
Before you, because he's like, I can go to an off-site, but it's going to cost a lot more. It's like, make sure the value for value that your nest egg lets you pay for like a year of what you want to do before you make that switch.
Yeah, exactly. And well, there's two things. One is I think he's still paying for the damn thing out of pocket.
Yes, which I've been telling him for years. He's crazy because people want to give him money.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I do. I would have.
People are willing to give him money.
Yes, It was a lot more willing before Joe Biden took office to give him more money, but I would still give him money.
Right. So that's something that, people are willing. They might as well. That's why I always say, don't bother giving to the show. But if you do send money, don't ask for it back because I'm keeping it.
Well, yeah, I have a Taylor Swift album to buy tomorrow. Record store day, baby. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to wait in line.
And I probably have a couple to buy as well. I'll find out when I get your text.
Right. Well, it's if you do you have a local record store right nearby? Because that would be the
what's that?
Record store, vinyl records.
I don't know what that is.
In Austin, you probably have a lot.
I know. We probably do. I've never set foot in one.
Unfortunately, here in my area, there is one in Joliet, which Joliet Jake.
Well, that's a famous town.
Yeah, I know. It's right by the Rialto Theater here in beautiful Joliet.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like 40 degrees tomorrow as a high, like 47. So it's going to be, I'm like, I don't want to go wait in line. I'm already watching
90 here.
I'm already watching the prices on eBay, and there's already some of them that are down to about the $90 range.
What?
And I mean, I think the face value, because it's a 2 record set, I think the face value from what I can tell is somewhere between 50 and 60. So I would much rather pay somebody $20 extra to not have to leave the house and wait in line in the cold. And
what, they're not doing it online? They're doing a physical release?
Well, this is how the record store day is supposed to work, but there's a lot of people that somehow are already selling all the stuff on eBay, whether it's Taylor Swift or others. These are things that come out for this special day, which are supposed to bring people into their local record shops because they're the ones that need the boost. And
yeah, you know who my local record shop is? Amazon.
Yeah. Like, that's not exactly an independent little shop.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think they kind of are here because when they bought Whole Foods, they moved a lot of their facilities here. And most of my Amazon orders aren't fulfilled next day. They're fulfilled same day.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them are now. It's amazing how quick. I did that the other day because my mom's like, oh, my dad wasn't feeling good, so we didn't go to the eye doctor, and they buy the I Promise vitamin through the eye doctor for some reason.
Yeah.
I ordered it on Amazon at 4 p.m. By 6, it was at their door. It was amazing.
Yep. It's totally amazing.
And that wasn't like I paid extra for rush delivery. It was,
exactly. It's all built in. They just charge the suppliers for that.
The thing with the record store day was originally supposed to get people to go to their local record stores and to get product in the hands of the true fans, whatever that may be. But now it has turned into a flipping game where the big releases, and I've got I think there were like 3 Taylor Swift releases in the past that I have that are probably worth one. Again, you probably bought them for $30 to $50 and they're worth now somewhere in the 500 to 1,000 range.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were only about 5,000 to 10,000 of them each release printed up. So this is where you have to understand supply and demand, which is also why I'm not that worried about this Taylor Swift release, because looking at the numbers at our local shop, a guy that I've been following for a long time, his shop always shows how many of each release he's getting. And while some of them, like if you want the Yes album that's coming out, he's only getting 2. If you want the U2 album, I think they're getting like 10. And I don't think I've ever seen one of these places get more than 10 of any given release.
That seems weird. If I was running a record shop, what I would do is I would take that list of like soon showing up albums and then just do pre-orders for everybody.
Well, this is, again, that's not the way Record Store Day works. They don't take pre-orders. It's first come, first served.
Record Day is stupid.
I agree. Well, it's lost what it was supposed to do. And the interesting thing, like I said, never seen more than 10. I don't believe this guy's getting 35 of the Taylor Swift. Another shop.
How many of those can you get?
You can only buy one if you go in.
Okay. Well, can you just pre-order like all of them?
Well, now, like on eBay, you could just keep going and buying as many as you want because they're not going to,
No.
There are stores that abide by the Record Store Day rules, which, everybody can only buy one.
Whatever.
There's another local shop that had 55 of the Taylor Swift ones coming in.
Oh.
So it's like, but our local shops, the closest one is like a half-hour drive, and it's like, that's not convenient.
That's stupid.
Beyond the one in Joliet.
We used to have a service here. I don't know. I mean, they don't really do that anymore. They used to. That was called Favor. And right now, all Favor is a food delivery service. But when they first popped up, they were like, did you ever want to get something somewhere and didn't want to do it yourself?
Right.
And I remember my use of Favor that was somewhat unique was I happened to have
Ukrainian prostitutes.
I happened to have gone to a wine and painting class on a date.
Oh, paint night. Oh, yeah, I know those things.
You know those things. It's like it's just the excuse to drink outside of a bar.
And where they can charge you way too much for a stupid little piece of canvas and paints.
Yeah. And it was I don't know, my female friend wanted to do that. Whatever. So we get there and I'm not plussed by the wine they've got, the selection, but then they've got plastic clear cups to drink from. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I pull out my phone. I put an order into Favor to pick up a couple of wine glasses, like actual glass ones, and then bring them to this class.
You're like looking at these people. I could just imagine this. Like, you not know who I am. I am Sir Gene. I will not drink out of plastic cups.
I mean, if you're going to have royalty coming to your class, for fuck's sake. Really?
Who drinks wine out of a red Solo cup? Come on.
Yeah, well, clear Solo cup. But still, it's just retarded. So I was definitely, depending on which side of the argument you're on, either a complete prick or like, holy shit, this guy is really cool.
I mean, it could be both.
I mean, I kind of know which side most people stood on, but yeah, I within about 20 minutes, I had actual glasses for my myself and my chick I was there with.
Well, because when somebody walks into like a restaurant or something, they have to be like, "I've got a package here for Gene."
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't know who you are, so there you go.
Yeah, right. But it was kind of cool. I mean, that was a perfect use of Favor to just go and buy some glassware. Now, it's not like I had them go to some super fancy crystal shop either. I mean, I think they went to where did they end up going?
You go to Walmart. I mean, it's just a basic
it was a
glass.
Pure One Imports.
That's about like Walmart.
Yeah, they don't exist anymore. But it was, they'd have a little more of a selection than Walmart. But either way, it was like, if I was running that class, I would have been so embarrassed that I don't provide actual glassware and somebody had to get their own.
I hope they learned their lesson, because I
hope they learned that. Well, I don't think they went out of business. I think eventually because of COVID. But
a cheap wine glass is only a few bucks.
Yeah, glass. It was probably $10 a glass and like a $10 fee to get it.
And see, you could have added this onto the price and done. You could have had your name engraved on it.
If I was running that class, I would have just gone to IKEA and bought $5 wine glasses.
Would have been better than plastic cups.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of the way I
better
look
for
at
the
eBay
environment, because I'm all about that.
Oh yeah, I know. That's your passion more than anything
else.
And
then get this: you don't want to have to wash this shit, right? So you just tell people at the end of the class, this is your complimentary souvenir.
Now, did you take your glasses home, or were you the asshole that then just threw them away? Like I
threw them away. Of course, I threw them away. I had to finish. I had to complete the look.
Yes.
It's like, you're so bad that you're not providing glassware that I had to get disposable glassware to drink here.
The ugly Russian American look.
There are restaurants, Russian restaurants, that have on their menus a price charge per type of glassware that you want to break.
Well, yeah, like the Greeks, they love doing that.
Do they? Yeah.
Yeah. Oopa!
Opa!
And you go a little crazy. I mean, a little drinking, you want to break something. You want to feel
that's
good.
What the fireplace is for. It's for smashing glassware.
Yes, I suppose.
Yeah, one of our fireplaces in the house I grew up in never had any fire in it ever.
A lot of broken glass, though.
A lot of broken glass, though. It was next to the dinner table.
Yeah, the whole favor thing, that's how I look at eBay now, which is I'll buy it there. I'll pay an extra percentage.
Yeah.
I'll get what I want, and I won't have to leave the house.
Yeah, might as well.
And most of the things are just slight, because there's a bunch of record stores then that put their whatever doesn't sell, they'll put it up just for the regular price anyway. So all you're paying is shipping at that point.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of record stores out there. So there's a pretty good chance. And I'm also wondering how low the Taylor Swift ones will go, because I know there's going to be a ton of fucking idiots who don't know the difference between the previous releases had about 10,000 pressings. And this one, I think they said it's 110,000 worldwide.
Holy shit.
So I think there's going to be a lot of people buying these to flip, and they're going to put them up and they're not going to sell. And they're going to end up getting to the point. I remember going to the Springsteen concert in 1985 here at Soldier Field, where the scalpers bought up so many tickets. It was hilarious the day of the show. Walking up, because it was a general admission show too, which makes it very hard to sell tickets. But walking up, there were people with handfuls of tickets trying to sell them for like $5 a piece and couldn't sell them.
Dude, I remember one experience. We're like jumping all over the place here, but
that's unrelenting.
I had some extra tickets, or I don't know, somebody canceled or something, so I had some extra tickets to a concert, and it was some kind of a gypsy music thing. I can't remember. And so I figured I would just sell them when I got there. And so I get there, and there's maybe 3-4 different scalpers standing there trying to sell tickets, right? So I go up to one of them. I'm like, hey, I got a few extra tickets. How much would you give them from just to add to the ones you're selling? And they completely lowballed me. I mean, tickets were like $50. They said, I'll give you $5.
Right.
Like $5. You're charging people $75.
Yes.
But you can give me $5, and that total prick. The second scalper I talked, the same kind of deal. I'm like, dude, this is stupid. Why would you want to do that? Just give me fair money. Give me like 35. Half of what you're charging.
They're like, no, I might not get that.
Yeah, so they don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, I'll just undercut you then.
So you became a scalper.
So I became a scalper, and as soon as somebody come up, I see somebody talking to this guy, I'm like, half his price. I'll sell for half his price right now.
You're going to get shivved.
Whatever.
Or you're going to be
handcuffed. They were so fucking mad, dude. Oh my God. They're like, you're fucking with me. I'm like, dude, you're the one that's being an asshole. I gave you a chance to buy this. I don't care if you buy it for $35 or somebody else buys it for $35, but I'm not selling it for $5.
That's when the cops show up and arrest you.
And I had like 10
scalping.
tickets for that for some reason. So I was there for a while selling these things. And then the last ticket was even better. Guy was talking to a scalper. I come up to him like, hey, you want a free ticket? He's like, what do you mean? Hey, here you go. Here's the next ticket. It's yours.
Rock and roll.
Oh, the look in the scalper's face was priceless because he knows he's going to get stuck with unsold tickets.
Yeah. And if he would have just played fairly with you,
all you had to do was buy mine for half.
That's why I like going to the White Sox games when we would go on the train, because then we weren't using our parking pass, obviously, which the parking there was maybe $20-25 at the time.
Yeah.
And there was always some enterprising young fellas running around that would just buy them in a heartbeat for $5. It's like, well, I was never going to use it, so I'd rather sell it to you for $5. They're going to go sell them for $10, so somebody can save $10 on parking. It just works, but you got to be fair. That's it.
Yeah.
When you got something that you know is worth $100 and they're like, give you $3.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, at that point, you're like, I'll just rip the tickets up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Especially when you know it's very time sensitive. You've only got an hour or so to sell them.
So I got offered tickets to go to Joe Rogan's club.
Oh, nice. Are you going?
No.
Well, okay. There's a hell of a story.
Well, I just have no interest in watching some of these comedians.
Yeah, comedy is not pretty right now. Although I mean, his comics are not woke, so that's a plus.
I mean, I guess I don't know. Anyway, but I just no fucking interest in being in a crowd and standing in line and
well, see, that's it too.
2 drink minimum and all this crap that I'm too adult for that shit. I don't need to deal with any of it. I don't need it. Too old, whatever you want to call it. But the point is,
ornery.
Been there, done that in my youth. Never need to do it again.
Yeah. Like standing in line to buy records. I'll just pay somebody.
Yeah, just pay somebody. And it was like the way that they do their whole ticket thing is that they never ship tickets. They
all digital now.
Their tickets are all at will call. So they recommend you get there half hour before the show to stand in line to pick up your ticket.
Oh, see, there's that standing in line thing again.
That's the part I'm not going to do. And then, then they say if you get there more than 30 minutes after the show already started, then your ticket's already been sold. So
you're like, don't you know who I am? I am Gene.
I am Gene. And it's so because Rogan's a comedian himself, and he's been bitching about ticket scalpers for a while, for like 20 years. The policy of this club is that there are no scalpers. You can't buy a ticket to scalp.
Well, right. This is why. I mean, they tried doing this with concerts as well, but it gets very hard forcing people to pick things up at will call and then making them go right inside, basically not allowing you the time to sell these tickets to anybody.
And so what they're doing is the name on your ID, on your photo ID, which you're required to show, has to be the exact same as was used to order the tickets when you order them online. So the only person that is allowed inside is a person whose name on their driver's license matches the name that was used when ordering tickets, which means it's impossible to scalp.
Does not sound like freedom.
You can't walk in with a ticket. You have to walk in with a ticket that has a name on it that matches your name's driver's license.
They're checking. So now if you buy a ticket for somebody, does everybody's name have to go on these, or you can bring a guest? You have
to know who's going when you order the tickets. You
really?
Put in the name. Yes.
So if you're going to this place with the Podfather, you
a
have
random date,
Adam Curry on the ticket. Otherwise,
you can't. Otherwise, it's not going in.
And then if somebody cancels your date, then you can't find another date to go. Because
you have to find a date with the same name.
That's a lot harder.
There was an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm with that exact scenario. Larry's black buddy, his girlfriend broke up with him, and he had a cruise around the world already ordered.
Yeah, travel. This has been this way for a long time.
And so he had 2 months to find another girl with the exact same name to take on this cruise. And then, he found like 3 of them with the same name. And then he had to like figure out which one he's going to take with him.
This does sound like something, oddly enough, that could happen in your life.
Well, a lot of things from Larry and David have happened in my life. I don't know. It's kind of weird that way. Yeah, it's, it's significant. Like Cruise Around the World is about $25,000. That's just not a small chunk of change.
No.
So you're going to want to try and find a replacement girlfriend with the same name. Now, luckily, his girlfriend in there
she had a
fairly common name.
I was going to say, you want girlfriends with common names then.
Yeah, it was like Mary something.
Mary Smith would be great. And you could sell that thing off easily.
Yeah, something like that. Or Mary O'Toole. Probably 1 billion of those just in Ireland alone.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So that's a possible thing. You could find somebody to give you a Joe Rogan ticket to. But no, I just, I told them, look, first of all, I appreciate that you're willing to give free tickets, but keep in mind that the club does not allow you to give up your tickets to somebody else.
Yeah, the whole will call only thing is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. It's bullshit. I think if they want to do it that way, they could do it, but without doing the without doing the whole will call thing. All they need to do is just sell the tickets as a purely digital thing that is tied to your phone.
Yes, which a lot do now as well.
Do they? Okay. Well, there you go.
Because then you can't transfer them, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Although I don't know what happens if you screenshot because they're usually QR codes. If you screenshot those, and can you sell them? And I don't know. Although
that's the thing this could have been done years ago by Ticketmaster. All they had to do is require that you use the Ticketmaster app on your phone, not a screenshot. So when you're coming up and there's a barcode, you have to launch the app and then show them the barcode. If there's just a barcode on your screen, say, okay, close that out, relaunch the app.
If we want to see this exactly where it's coming from.
If you see somebody launching the app and then scanning the barcode, there's no doubt that's a legit ticket.
So I can tell you, once we realized here at the White Sox games that when they started doing the thing where you could print up your own tickets, it didn't take a genius to figure out that you could change things on the paper ticket you were going to print out. So it was not hard to get into the club level or any place like that.
Yep.
You could just go and change that because the folks there, they didn't even scan the barcodes.
No, they don't know. We were doing the same thing with airline tickets.
Nice. It's getting harder and harder to do that now.
Now you can't really do that. But back in the day when airlines started letting you print the ticket at home, it didn't take long to realize that, wait a minute, if you can print the ticket at home, you can modify anything on the ticket.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm going to upgrade.
It's a hell of an upgrade.
Might as well, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's like, well, let them worry about, who's got the actual first class seat.
Well, because then you can play stupid like, I don't know.
I just printed it. I don't know.
You act like a Luddite. Like, I don't know what's going on.
And then I figured out that the scanners didn't even need to scan the barcode on the paper ticket. They'll do it on the computer screen. Now, all airlines actually do it that way anyway. But back then, they weren't telling you to just stick your screen in front of a scanner. They assumed it wouldn't work, in fact. And so remember, we're talking about the iPhone 1, everything ties together.
Right.
Using that iPhone 1, which had the best screen in the category at the time, I could actually put that in a scanner that I was expecting to scan a barcode from paper, and it would scan just fine off the phone. So I would show up at the airport without even a paper ticket and, not print one there and just use my phone. And I remember a couple of the TSA folks or whatever, they weren't even TSA. This is pre 9/11, guys. This is like back when air travel used to be fun and luxurious and stuff. Back when we had real silverware and we had real multi-course meals on planes.
And the stewardesses were hot.
And the stewardesses were not. No, I missed that part. The last hot stewardess I remember was from 1979.
And you were
in the 80s, they started getting fat.
That's when society as a whole began careening downhill.
Well, what happened here, I tell you exactly what happened. The stewardesses that were hot in the 70s never quit their jobs.
That's true. It's a union gig.
And they have a union. Exactly. They have a union. So the airlines, like Pan Am, used to have a policy that unions or not, that essentially said, we only give you this job for a 4-year contract.
Uh-huh.
And it's renewed every 4 years. And if we can not renew for any reason.
And then you see the Pan Am television show where a young Margot Robbie plays a flight attendant. And you're like, no, that's just not.
No, that's
realistic.
exactly what they used to look like.
Damn.
Full of Margot Robbies.
We missed out.
Dude, I remember flying Pan Am 747 upper deck in the 79. It was so nice. You had, first of all, you couldn't see because the smoke from everyone smoking was that thick. Everyone's sitting around the bar, shooting down drinks, smoking, puffing away. It was the epitome of comfort and class.
Well, we highly recommend people
not smoke.
Donate to unrelenting.show so we can live the opulent life once again.
Not happening. Just a humble podcaster at this point.
Yeah, that's what you say. I don't believe it.
Hey, I'm not the one flying a private plane to Nashville.
That's true. He's coming up next on the Mighty No Agenda stream, which is why we are going to bid you adieu. We will be back here next Friday, same bat time, same unrelenting channel.